Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Creative Collective. I am joined by Tyron, my co-host. I'm doing the intro this time, so welcome, Tyron.
Thank you, Tim. It's good to be back and good to be recording another episode.
Yeah, and today's one's quite an interesting one. Not something I've seen before, but we thought we would tackle it. It is the art of the follow-up. So basically, once you've got a booking and you haven't heard from them, otherwise known as ghosting, what to do then? And I'm going to give it to Tyron. He's going to handle this. And let's have it.
Cool. Yeah, so it's obviously the art of the follow-up is what I've titled it. I think that might be the name of a book. So hopefully no copyright strikes or anything like that for this. But so obviously in the industry that we're in, the follow-up is important because, sometimes emails can end up in spam. They can end up just being ignored. They can not even get sent potentially, whatever the case may be. So having a good plan in the form of a follow-up is crucial to success in your business, whether you're a photographer or videographer or any creative really. So anyone who gets an inquiry in via their website or via social media and has to send information out to a client, be that information just general information, or be it packages or basic pricing, whatever the case may be, having a follow-up is crucial. So I've kind of separated it into a couple of titles. The first thing that I do want to start with is ultimately to completely negate the reason, to completely negate the need for a follow-up. I think it's important to have a plan with regards to the initial follow-up with a client, as in, what do you do straight after sending an email to them with your pricing, with your packages, whatever the case may be. And what I find works really, really well is either a text or sending a bonjour, which I haven't done for quite a while now. Like, I used to send them. They're pretty handy. It's basically, you send a short video saying, hey, I just sent you an email. Check your inbox, check your spam folder just in case it went in there. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Whereas, simple text it's a lot quicker, it's a lot easier, and, just gets sent out. So pretty much every inquiry that we get in now for our business, and obviously for my own brand, I send a text out saying, hey, just sent you an email with our pricing or whatever the case may be. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always available. And that's pretty much that. So if you get that right, the chance of you needing to follow up at a later stage with a client is unlikely, because generally most of mine are positive. They'll either come back and say, you're too expensive, or we found someone else, or, we were looking for something different, whatever the case may be. That's kind of important. The next thing that I want to talk about is timing. How to time your follow-up emails when you've obviously sent that initial response to a client's inquiry. So you've gotten the inquiry in, you've sent your packages, your pricing, whatever the case may be, and then there's crickets. You're being ghosted. The dreaded ghosting that we all experience at some stage or another. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry, you will be ghosted time and time and time again. I personally find that anywhere between 5 and 7 days after responding to the initial inquiry works best. I actually have a calendar event on my, an event on my calendar literally every Monday morning at, I think, 9 a.m. that I send out all my weekly follow-ups. So anything that's happened in the past week, I'll do that.
And I think that's also been my rule of thumb is a week. Don't even leave it past a week, sort of on that week mark, or as you say, 5 to 7 days. That's a good one.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes I must say, like, the odd Friday response will sneak in, and I'll send a follow up on the Monday. But that's also it's been 2 or 3 days. Where they've probably had some time to sit down with their fiance and be like, oh, look at this, I really like this guy, or their work is great, but they might be a little bit out of our price range, or whatever the case may be, but they've still had enough time
Yeah,
So,
I think that's an interesting one, because we've had a couple of clients, even with the Creative Collective, on a Friday say, "Oh, thanks so much. I'll look over it on the weekend with my husband."
yeah,
And if you send that follow up on the Monday, we've got one of two responses. Either they'll say, "Oh, sorry, we haven't had time to look at it,"
yeah,
but that's them getting back to you, and
Exactly.
that's still something.
yeah,
And it sounds silly, but even just a response is a great thing to get.
yeah,
And the other one is, yeah, we've had a look, and so and so and so, we want to have a consult, or
yeah,
we want to chat about this. Can we add a second photographer to this package or something? So
Yeah.
a weekend is long enough a lot
Yeah.
of the time.
yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. And I think one of the important things is you're on the top of their mind for that week.
Exactly.
You know, even if it has just been since the Friday or whatever the case may be, like you're going to be top of mind going into the week.
Everyone else got the Friday one, because they probably didn't just message you. They could have messaged 3 to 5 other people.
Exactly.
And now those people haven't said anything on the Monday, but you have. So they'll be like,
Exactly.
"Oh yeah, we did actually like that guy's work." I know they remember, okay, these ones stood out from the 5 that we messaged. So
Yeah.
puts you
Yeah.
at the top of the list for the week.
And I suppose it's even handier if it's a work email. You know,
Yeah.
people shouldn't be using work emails to message or to email potential wedding photographers. But if it's a work email and you message them or you email them back at, you know, Monday morning at 9 a.m., you're going to be top of the inbox. So, you know, and chances are even a lot of people will just not open their email apps on their phones and stuff, you know, over the weekend.
Yeah.
So regardless, you're going to be top of the email pile, and, you know, you'll be top of mind, and it's a good way to start the week. So yeah, that's it as far as timing is concerned. Next is ultimately what to say in the actual follow-up email. And obviously this can be tailored completely to your own likes and how you would talk normally, whatever the case may be. But the important thing is to introduce yourself, you know, generally by saying, I sent you, you know, I sent you on our packaging or package or pricing guide last week. I know wedding planning must be going crazy. So excited for you guys. Your big day is, you know, it's a lot closer than whatever, you know, like make it your own ultimately. But ultimately you want to say what the purpose of the email is. You just want to check in and see if they have any questions with regards to the package or pricing guide that you sent them. And then if they have any questions, to let you know, and you'll be happy to answer them. That's the important thing to say. Otherwise, people will be like, "Oh, you know what's this random email that's coming in? Is it spam? Is it this or is it that?" You want to be very proactive and just explain the reason behind it. And then, kind of linked to that, I think is very, very important, is having some kind of call to action. So you want to have something in place that someone can click on and be like, "Okay, cool. This solves a problem for me. This takes stress away from what I'm facing right now." So what I do is I'll send a link or a Calendly schedule a link, and that gives them the option of booking a consultation with either myself or with us. And that just helps because it gives them something to do that is, you know, if they're interested, obviously at that stage. If they're not interested, they might come back to you and say, "Hey, listen, you're not interested. We've booked someone else. You're too expensive," whatever. But it gives them something to do that is proactive in their own wedding planning process. It helps them and makes them feel like they're doing something, which they are, but it makes them feel like they're doing something positive. And it's just a good thing to have in place. So that definitely have some kind of call to action. It can be that Calendly invite link. It can be, you know, text me, whatever the case may be. Have something that they can click on and make it have some kind of result for them.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about that one for me is I never really did that in the past.
Yeah.
I sort of said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And then sort of, if it went further, I would say, "Oh, if you want, we can get on the phone and have a chat or have a Zoom meeting." And no one really followed up with that. It wasn't because it was just written, if you want to do it, we can do it. I think I may have had 3 calls, maybe, and like 2 Zoom meetings, in like 2 years. And since we've done this, I think we've had like 4 calls, and 3 of them booked that same day, and paid deposits and everything. And that was from a link. That's a link in the email that we sent and said, if you want to have a chat with us, follow the link, and we'll have a Zoom meeting whenever suits you. And that's worked wonders. And I've never experienced that firsthand until now. And that call to action was such a game changer for me. And I never thought of it before. I mean, we're talking here as if we know everything, but we don't. Like, there are things we're still learning as we go. And just this year, I learned a simple link at the end of an email to schedule an appointment is such a big thing, rather than just saying, if you want to have a Zoom call, we can have a Zoom call. As soon as we have that link, it sort of changed everything for me, and I'm impressed by it.
It does. And funnily enough, I actually did it wasn't really a webinar. It was kind of a Facebook Live kind of thing, and the guy that was hosting it spoke about having even just a consultation as not as a call to action, but as something that should be prized, that's something that clients should be wanting and needing and looking for. And that blew my mind, because I was like, you know what, if someone offered me a consultation, initially your thought is like, I can't be bothered, I don't want to get in a call with someone. But if you structure it and you market it in a way, and obviously this is actually something that we'll get onto in a future episode, but if you offer it in the right way and you almost promise to solve their problems in a roundabout way, like, they'll bite your hand off trying to get into that consult. And that's why it's pretty much included in all of our marketing now. Any email that goes out, it has a link to that. And not to get ahead of ourselves, we need to obviously speak about it in the future episode, but it has it. Anything that we send out has that consult link, and that's important. And then the big question, and I'll finish off with this, is how many times to use your follow-up email. And obviously you'll probably need to vary it. You can't send the same one, because they'll be like, it's just a bot sending me emails, or whatever the case may be. But how many times to use it? And obviously this comes down to personal preference. You should probably ask yourself, how many times would I want to receive a follow-up email asking me if I've read the pricing guide, or whatever the case may be. And I think initially you'll probably just have to test it. But from personal experience, I've almost never needed a second follow-up email. And generally by that stage, depending on if you monitor your emails and stuff, you can see that someone has read it, and by that stage you'll be like, okay, they've read it. I've sent the one follow-up email. It's been 2 weeks, whatever the case is, that lead is gone. I know there's probably a lot of people out there who'll be like, that lead isn't gone. You can still get in the back, but we need to be proactive, and we can't waste too much time. Trying to get people that don't want to book us.
Trying to put your time and effort somewhere else. Time, effort, money somewhere else could result in a lead, rather than trying to follow up this one. I think even for my own wedding, someone messaged me maybe 3 times, and I was pretty bad at it. And as a wedding photographer, I loathe myself for how I acted at the time. But I think at the 3rd one, I was like, this is like, I don't even want to message back now. I'm just like kind of hoping it stops. But I mean, they were right to do it, in all fairness. I know it's the right move. But for me personally, at a certain point, I was like, oh, okay. And I think, as you say, we've fortunately never had to be those people that have pried too much. But generally, after the first one, we get a response, either yes or no, sorry, not going to go with you. And as we all know, to actually get that response is magical. Even if it's a no, you're like, okay, fine, that's okay. Because hopefully by that time, you've given them all the information that they want to hear or want to know. Any problem that can be solved, that you can provide the solution for, they've hopefully heard of it, and they've made that decision to say yes or no. And if it's no, then that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. And just looking back at my own kind of path leading to where I am now, like the second best thing that you can hear from a client is no.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, the first is yes, but the second best thing that you can hear from them is no. The third best, and very, very far down the list, third best is nothing.
Yeah,
because you're gonna let it stew. You're gonna be beating yourself up over it. It's not gonna be pleasant. So yeah, that's why, get that follow up, get that no, get that yes. Hopefully,
I think the interesting thing with the follow up as well is sort of to provide a sort of statement from yourself saying, I'm still available.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll get back to you, just because I've had a couple of experiences with myself and others recently where someone's inquired with us and we said, yes, we're available. And then we don't hear back from them for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And someone actually books in that time because they're more proactive. And then they get back to them and say, oh, we'd like to book you. And you have to say, oh, I'm so sorry. But if you're proactive with even the follow-up saying it, now almost saying not anything different, but something completely separate, is if you do get another inquiry, I like to sort of go back and say, oh, we do have someone on that day inquired, but I'll message them and see what their story is. If I don't hear back from them in, say, 24 hours, we'll proceed and go from there. And that's a different type of follow-up. Sorry for that tangent, but that is also important because then you're not letting anyone down. And we felt bad in the past where I got an email just this morning on the drive over, someone that inquired back in December for this year, August, and I have to go back to them now and say, sorry, I'm booked, because it took them, was it last year, December? It was, yeah. They've taken over a month to get back to me. I forget that we're in January now. We're in 2023. It's taken them over a month to get back to me, and unfortunately, we booked in that time.
It happens, unfortunately, but I think from my side that wraps it up. That's kind of most of what I wanted to say in terms of the follow up. And as I mentioned, we'll have a future episode that's kind of centered around the consultation itself and how to do it and when to do it and all that kind of thing. But I'm really excited for that one because it's something that I really enjoy. Strangely enough, I actually really enjoy getting clients on a Zoom call or even just over the phone or whatever the case is.
I think it also, sorry to interrupt, it serves that purpose of meeting someone. Yes, and that makes a big difference. As soon as you can see someone and sort of, I don't know they're real. And they get to see how you act and how you sort of play off each other. That also makes a big difference to it.
It does.
And then they're like, oh, on the day he's actually going to be chilled because he's chilled out right now, or he's really excitable, and you get a sense of who that person is, and so it helps you know the couple, and the couple get to know you. Yeah,
exactly. And that's how you can that's what you can reassure them with by including that call to action. Like, book this consultation with me. You'll see that I'm a real person. You'll see that I'm really relaxed and laid back, and you'll see that you'll have fun with me on your wedding day, or us, I suppose, in terms of our business. But I think that's it from our side. The one thing that we did want to mention, just going back to a recent episode that we did, is AfterShoot. We just want to give a big shout out to them. That that episode has recently gone live. Everyone seems to be loving it. It's amazing. And we just wanted to remind everyone again of the discount code if you want to make use of it. If you feel like you need something other than a dedicated editor or a dedicated admin person or whatever to do your culling for you, definitely give AfterShoot a shout. They're amazing at what they do. And if you do use our code, the Creative Collective, so as it is, as you'll see on the
no spaces.
That's the difference, but everything else is the same. The Creative Collective, you'll get 15% off any subscription that you choose with them. So we love them. They're amazing people, and
great brand to work with.
We can't help but just sing their praises. And I think that's it from our side.
That's it.
that's it from your side. So yeah,
Thank you.
we'll see you on the next episode.
See you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.